Cash flow is the most important lifeline for a company's survival. As evident during MCO, many businesses suffered the harsh reality that the profits they see on paper do not reflect with the money in the bank account. So today we would like to have a discussion on this often overlooked subject matter. Hi, my name is Terence, and I am a coach. I coach people internationally and bring many small businesses to big business. And joining us here today is Mr. Izam Yusof, a former CEO, now turned business strategist, with more than 30 years of experience working with numerous entities to transform their business. He has worked with multi-million dollar businesses, and here he is to help us with cash flow. Welcome, Izam. So today's topic is about cash flow survival during crisis. Like in Money and You, we learned that clarity leads to power. So let's have an understanding of what cash flow truly means for business. Izam, what's your take?
Well, hi Terence. Thank you for having me today. Currently, especially in this crisis, cash flow is the most important thing. One thing that I think is important is how many days we can live forward the amount of cash that we have. That is the ultimate most important thing that we need to know now. So, and then we start planning with how much we have now and what we can do with it to make productive. So one is for survival and second for growth. So these are the two distinctions that we need to know as we go along going through this crisis from post-COVID onwards in this immediate period. That's my thing for Terence.
So when you talk about survival, what are usually blind spots that business owners overlook when you talk about survival during this time when it comes to cash flow?
Well, sometimes what happens is we have typically the amount of cash we use for our business. There'll be in two parts. One is for generating revenue. The other part is about us to managing our internal operations for typically the administration side. Mm-hmm. So one of the things, the blind spot is we are not sure which one we should reduce or we should spend more or we should cut in terms of where we want to take the business moving forward. So the distinction is about really look at the numbers and understanding how to spend the money as we go along. So this is one of the critical distinctions that we need to do on day one, or if you have not done it, this is the best time to do it to ensure the business operates well moving forward, as well as we are able to have a bit of cash as we go along. So that's quite important in my view.
Okay, when you say look at the numbers, it's like where do we get the numbers? That's the question for most people out there. Like, where do we find the numbers?
Well, initially, typically we go into our profit and loss. We look at our cash balance, how much we've got, and then we look at our projection, especially in the next 3 months, what we can hold, what we need to spend in terms of moving forward. And I'm sure by after post-COVID, a lot of things has not moved over the last period. So there's lack of cash that we have in hand. So how to make it more productive? So the one immediate thing that we could do is to really look at our bank balance, our potential cash flow that we can get from client, and then what we need to spend in terms of the urgency and importance for us to move forward. So these three things are an element of the cash flow. We need to understand the behavior. So that's something can be the beginning of start thinking of our cash flow and moving forward.
Yeah. Okay. And like most business have this simple question. It is like now we know where to look at. Okay. Now this is still internal. Like where can we squeeze out additional cash flow? How can we manage that? So it is in order for survival. What's your opinion on that? What do you think?
Well, there are two things come immediately to mind in the discussion. One, how you can generate quick revenue or quick sales from whatever business you're in that will generate you some immediate cash flow. Mm-hmm. And second, to see if your financial standing, are you able to seek financial support from any of the institution or within your environment, so you will have a ready cash flow to get yourself into the zone of survival as well as start thinking about growth. So having these two elements of how much cash we have with you, how much potential collection that you can get from your immediate client, and potential revenue you can generate for the quick win, and also lastly from your financial support within the environment. So these are the critical things to actually see how much money you have moving forward. So there are certain plannings that you need to make, because some of the cash flow are readily available for you within say a month or two. Some require some of you to really prepare documentation, submission, approval for you to get that financing available for you. So this is the critical period to start having everything moving on stream. So really know in your war chest how much do you really have to go to really start on from survival to start operating as normal again. Yeah, that's what I might take, Terence.
Okay, like most business would use what they call a delay tactic at the moment. It's if I don't have to pay out, I won't pay out, so I can keep as much cash in my war chest at the moment. So this is kind of like happens everywhere, and should this be the way to go forward for a smaller business or most business, just to have cash in hand?
Well, my take on that, it has to be a open communication between you and your client and you and your creditors. Because if you were to do that and everybody behave the same way, then nobody moves, nobody get any cash. So if one of them within the supply chain behave differently, then it stop the chain from really into a cycle of moving the business forward. So the key distinction is being honest and be open to your creditors and talk to your client if they're able to support you in terms of advance payment or some percentage of payment from the previously. So at least everyone have a chance to start the ball rolling again, because one thing within this is the clarity of what's the new reality that we are facing before we start embarking to thinking about our new normal. So like what you mentioned earlier, clarity leads to power. So the one of the distinction in Money and You is that we need to be clear what is our current position before we take the next step. So that fundamental is important. And another distinction in Money and You is with whatever cash and support that you have, how many days forward you can really help you survive to move your business. So these are the two key important things to know now.
Got it. When you talk about open communication with your creditors and stuff, how do you suggest we make the first call, or what do you do when you call?
Well, in my experience, we just say that we have so much cash and then we can only pay so much. Does it help? And we still need some supply from you. And then we put a time frame that in order for sales to happen, there's some instead of certain number of credit period that you have, you need to extend it. So there's some payment profile that you need to look at. So which is suitable to your creditors, because most of the creditors are long-term player with you, so they really know how you operate and how you pay within your environment in your running the business. So this is where that communication really helps, because in running through crisis, honesty and be in integrity is really important, because everybody is in the same boat, so no one is have an upper hand against the other. So that's one key thing, need to have that open communication. Of course, you don't reveal everything. To a certain things, you reveal enough for you to have that trust, to build up the small agreement for you to move forward, as well as your creditors having to run their business are able to move forward too. So I think in this period that is critical. Yeah.
Okay, got it. So it's like the behavior of just hiding and not communicating, and like all these say that, oh, delay tactics don't really work. So and then you're suggesting really going all out and just talking to people and just telling them, calling every day to see what's happening. That's the better behavior at this point in time. Then.
Yeah, I like what you mentioned, the better behavior, like calling the credit every day. What I like to instill in the businesses that I talk to is start knowing your cash balance and cash behavior on a weekly basis, because some of the fundamentals may change as you go along. Knowing what's happening in your cash environment within your business on a weekly basis, really you can really understand the behavior of cash movement in and out. You can anticipate how it moves forward. So in the business that I've spoken to previously, a lot of the payment are on a monthly basis. So monitoring on the weekly basis doesn't really help. I still feel that knowing the numbers on, say, week 1, week 2, week 3, there's not much movement, and the week 4, there's a lot of movement. It happens every month. Give you a different kind of standing, knowing your position weekly. Although your movement is monthly, then you are trying to behave differently in this new normal, knowing your cash balance weekly rather than allowing it to monitor upon finalization of your account or at month end. So that discipline is important, because cash really is an important ingredient for you to go through this period of crisis.
Got it. And like, if there's one thing you want to leave the audience with, one mistakes to avoid for during this period in the era of cash flow, what would that be?
Well, one of the principles that I keep hold on to and keep on talk to people on is, you got to really know what's the meaningful result that you want from utilization of the cash or keeping the cash. Sometimes the result that we want is not really the result that we truly want in terms of growing our business. So the key thing that I want to leave behind at the end of this conversation is, what is your meaningful result that you want to achieve? And how can you use the money effectively and more efficiently in maintaining the survival or sustaining your business in this current period? So meaningful result, being efficient and effective utilization of cash. So these are the things that I want to leave people thinking in their business, Terence.
Thank you, thank you. We have Izam here, which is one of the turnaround CEO of our times. He's turned around many businesses during crisis. So we are very lucky to have here. And this Saturday, we are running a 2-hour Master Business Builder program with me and Izam, answering all these cash flow questions with you. So please click on the link on this video, and I'll see you on this Saturday. Anything else you want to say to the audience before we leave today, Izam?
I wish all the best. I'm sure this trying time, a lot of the assumptions may be true and maybe not true. What's important is you have your new reality, your base, and start planning your behavior in your new normal. So God willing, everybody will go through this crisis and maintain and sustain your business. That's all I've got. Thank you, Terence.
Thank you very much. See you.
Okay, bye.